endless skies. Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained, I thrive, I thrive.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and it is my current mission to interview 1,000 digital nomads. That's right, folks, 1,000 digital nomads to tell us all about how wonderful their life is and to help people get into it, because everyone I've ever talked to so far has been incredibly happy about their life. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into it?
Well, I always wanted to travel. I mean, from when I was in high school, my French club went to France, and my parents wouldn't let me go.
Oh,
So
no!
I've been in love
That's the
with the
worst.
idea. They were like, well, they had traveled, but they were like, I'm not sending you with a bunch of people we don't know to
Right.
go to another country across the pond.
Yeah. It makes
Hell
sense.
no. So it had always been a dream of mine because I think I didn't get to go. If I had gotten to go, maybe it wouldn't have, but it stayed with me. But after I finished college, I got a job, the house, the fence, the dog, the
Standard
responsibility,
American dream
and just
thing.
never see so-called the dream. So even though my dream was travel, I was doing the other people's dream.
Right, right.
Well, yeah. So when my daughter went to college, she fell in love with travel and started traveling right away.
Nice.
And
Good
so
for
she
her.
had been to London, I think once or twice, and she was like, "Mom," oh, but always on a budget, with her friends. And she was like, "Mom, we have to go
Nice. I love it.
because of my budget. Yeah, it wouldn't be a budget
Yeah,
issue."
exactly.
So we did. So for her, I don't know, maybe 23rd birthday, or yeah, we went. So long story short, I came back and I was just really determined to figure out how to leave to become a full-time traveler. I
Wow.
started
So that
in the
one trip did it?
researching that trip.
That one
I
trip did
ran
it?
into people who were full-time slow travelers. So I
Mm,
didn't know that was a thing. I kind of had heard of being a digital nomad, but I'm thinking young people backpacking, climbing mountain, what is it?
Machu
Pico.
Picchu.
Yes, that's what I'm visioning, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know where that was at the time, right? Just like
Somewhere south of
properly.
us. That's what I'm thinking.
Was in South, well, I mean, I think I knew it was in South America, but I just was saying I just didn't really think it was for people like me.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I fell into this community of older female travelers, solo travelers. So the whole solo traveling language, slow traveler. I knew that I didn't want to be an expat because I felt like my kids still had too much living to do in the US that I didn't want to miss, like the
Right.
weddings and all the drama of becoming a grandparent and all that. And actually, I still have all that ahead of me. And
Nice.
I've been traveling full time now for 15 months. So,
Wow.
yeah, I
Congratulations.
come
That's
back to the
awesome.
US about every trip is 3 to 6 months, and then I try to come home for a month to 2 months.
Is
I
that
mean,
because
as
of
little as
visa
possible. To,
restrictions? Is
huh?
that because of visa restrictions or why do you?
No, I just start missing the things of home, and I
Yeah.
just want to see them and lay eyes on them. They're 27 and 32 now, and my son
Wow.
actually joined me. So I'm supposed to be a solo traveler. So my son joined me this past spring for our birthdays. Our birthdays are both in April. And
Nice.
he was like, I'm just going to hang out with you the rest of the because he does a lot of work virtually as well. He was doing other things that were in person, but he just was like, I'm just gonna do this summer. And
Nice.
so he did. He spent 3 months following me around Mexico. It was
I love
great.
it.
It was really wonderful.
So when you were a kid, did your parents travel when you were a kid? Is that where you first got the bug?
Well, I mean, I saw them do things like road. So we are from the Bronx, but they would maybe go to what is it called? Um, in Canada with the waterfall, Niagara
Niagara
Falls.
Falls? Niagara Falls, yeah.
Yes, they would go to Niagara Falls for the weekend over to the Canadian side, and they did a cruise to the Bahamas. My
Nice.
mom went to Puerto Rico actually and left me with my grandmother for a year
Whoa.
when I was very young because she wanted to help a friend who started a school in Puerto Rico. She was a teacher, and my mother was bilingual.
Wow,
And
that's
so that's what she
fantastic.
did. I don't remember it at all, but I heard stories about how she was a, horrible person. How could you leave your child? Blah, 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 blah. My mother, I think, if she had been born in this age, she's deceased, she would have loved to see how women of every age are just out living their lives doing all the things
I
that
love
they
it.
want to
That's
do.
fantastic. So you
But
didn't
she
get you.
did, but I feel like she took a lot of flack in the family and in society and even in her job for taking a year off to go live in Puerto Rico and spend time, teaching.
Yeah, now it's like everyone does it. Well, not everyone does it, but it's really well accepted to do something like that because why not take some time and follow your
Well,
dream,
I
right?
was born in the late 60s, and so it happened before I went to school. I know it was
Mm,
before I went to like first grade. So we're really talking 70, 71, 72. I don't think most women were doing it, but Black women, teachers, absolutely not.
yeah,
You
yeah.
were not going somewhere else to teach in
She
another
was a
country.
vanguard. See, you have that DNA, the wandering DNA.
Yes, 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 yes. Now, my dad was a road trip warrior. He loved to put me and my mom actually was like, if it's a plane, she would go. She'd be like, I don't need to go.
Yeah.
So he would jump me in the car and then we would drive down to Philadelphia or wherever he felt like going. I'm an only child and they had me late in life.
Hmm.
So I
Nice.
do remember that. Mhm.
So, is there any particular place? So, where have you been so far in your
So,
travels?
so when I first decided that this was a possibility and that I would see if I could do it, I said, well, I haven't been anywhere, so let me go to Mexico. Everybody goes to Mexico. Tickets are cheap.
Sure,
So
it's
I went to
close.
Cancun. I bought a ticket to Cancun, but I was like, I definitely don't want to be in Cancun. What I know about myself is I don't like resorts where everything's all included. I
Mm,
want to be out figuring it out, mixing up with the locals, right?
yeah.
So I flew into Cancun and then I took a bus to Playa del Carmen and I spent a whole month in Playa del Carmen. And then when it was
Wow.
time to come back because I'm a teacher, so I teach online in the summer, a professor, a social psychologist. So that summer, which was about 2 years a year before I decided when I was retiring, and 2 years before I became a full time traveler, I spent a total of about 6.5 weeks in Mexico in
Hmm.
that region. And then I went to Isla Mujeres for 10 days. So when I went back towards Cancun, I took the ferry to Isla Mujeres, which I really loved. It's probably too small an island to live, but I just have still really fond memories of it. I
Nice.
also that year went to Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico, with my daughter to celebrate my mom's 80th birthday. If she had been alive, she would have been 80 that year.
Wow.
And so my daughter and I spent like a long weekend in Puerto Rico. And so that year was really busy. So that was 2023. Because,
Hmm.
that was the other thing. Because of COVID, things were cheaper.
Oh
There was
yeah.
nobody around.
Did you work from there? So you actually worked from there when you were there?
Yeah. So I always taught online. And actually, I started teaching summers. I started double downing on teaching summers for extra income because faculty, your salary is annualized, but your contract is actually only for 9 months.
Mm,
So anything you do in the summer was always extra money. And of course, with two kids, there was no such thing as extra money.
right.
That's not a thing, especially the
It's
one in
funny how
college.
fast kids use up your cash, right? It's
And
like
the
there's
minute,
more expensive than
what's
you
funny is
think.
that when they were no longer in college
Yeah.
and working, it was it was almost like a windfield. I was like, I can't believe how much money
Look at all
because
this money piling up.
you only
Where did
see
it
the
go
big
before?
amounts. Hmm?
Look at all this money piling up. Where did it go before, right? Y-
Yeah, so I just started redirecting it basically into
Mm,
travel. So I'm really
fantastic. So,
grateful that I had that experience of that year to kind of help me see that you could travel on a budget. And I think that was the other thing. So I came home to Chicago, which is where I was teaching in Illinois. And I said, okay, I have to liquidate everything. The only way this is going to make sense is if I don't have any bills.
right.
And so I started selling and giving away stuff. I waited till my lease was up. And the rent in Chicago after the pandemic was just doing ridiculous things. Like it was
Mm,
going up 300, like a two, I know it sounds like a lot. So $2,000 a month for a one bedroom is what it costs to be like in the middle of nowhere.
right.
So if you have any
Hey, you should come live in
amenities,
San Francisco. It's like $4,000 a month in the middle of
right. So if you
nowhere.
have any amenities, now that's not to say you can't find places that are 3,000, but I was in
Sure.
the 2,000 a month neighborhood. But all of a sudden, the rent started going up $300 to $400 every time you would sign your lease.
Holy
So that
cow.
happened in 2021. It happened in 2022. So when it happened in 2023, I was like, oh, I have to go.
Mm.
I'm not giving people $3,000 for the same
Fate's telling
apartment I
you
gave
time
them
to
2,000.
leave. This ain't happening.
Yeah, so my
That's
daughter had bought a
crazy.
house in Georgia, so I moved to Georgia, and I'm still teaching full time online, and I literally could afford to fly. Once I didn't have the $2,700 a month rent, I was able to fly back and forth to Georgia. I mean, from Georgia to Chicago, from Atlanta to Chicago,
Nice.
like every 6 weeks, if I had to be in person or I wanted to be in person. I also stepped down out of some leadership roles that I was in my career so that I could make time and mental space to plan to travel and to sort of work on a side hustle. So
Yeah.
I would have some additional income coming in.
Do you
So when it was
regret
all
doing
said
that at
and
all?
done, I was ready to take off about 7 days. My retirement party was in June. And on July 7th, I left for England and I stayed gone 4 months.
Nice. Were you working
And
when you were in
so,
England, or was that,
mhm.
would you take some time
Yeah,
off?
I knew that you were going to ask that because people always do. And so I went to so I was a international house sitter on Trusted House Sitters.
Oh,
I
nice.
started house sitting in Atlanta. So I don't know if you're familiar with them or if you've had your audience has talked to
Yes,
people
a few
about that.
people, a few others have also talked about trusted house
Yes,
sitters.
yes,
Do you
yes.
like them? Do you think that they're
And
good?
I love it. In fact, I'm on a house sit right now, but now I don't house sit internationally per se. I basically have a couple of regular clients that I really love working with them and their pets in their neighborhood. So there's one in Chicago and there's one in Georgia.
Nice.
So basically, I'm using it to not have to pay a fortune to stay in the United States
Right.
when I'm here. And next summer in 2026, I plan to house sit actually for the summer, but I'm probably going to be in the northern part of the US and maybe even Canada.
Wow.
I want to come back through the US for some social things that are going on with my family. And so if I'm in, Mexico or Canada, I can get a reasonable ticket to get back and be close to it without spending the money to be in an Airbnb for 3 months,
Right.
because I
So,
don't really have an address anymore. I mean, I have an address, but it's a digital address.
right. So if you went to Mexico and that was how long did you say you were there for? 6 weeks?
So
Or
that's where I just left. I was there so the first trip, yes, that's
yeah, the
correct.
first
I was
trip.
there a total of 6 weeks.
And you were still working when you were
And
there.
I was still working, yes.
Okay.
And then I
And then
came back and retired the following year. At the end of the next academic year, I retired and then I left for England. But I also went after the house. I did 8 house sits in England, in Portsmouth, Waltham, It's one of those four-syllable English town words.
they
And
tend to add a lot
Leicester,
of words to
huh?
locations, I find.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and Leicester and Portsmouth. I don't know if I said
Nice.
Portsmouth already. I think I'm
Nice.
leaving something out. But yeah, there were 4 cities plus London, but not London proper, like the suburbs of London.
Right. And this was through Trusted House Sitters. You got those
Trusted
gigs?
house sitters, yeah.
And tell me how does that work exactly? Do you also get paid at the same time, or you just get use of
You
use of the
don't. In
house?
fact, one of the reasons why I like trusted house sitters is it really it's part of their mission to help people who are travelers be able to travel by taking care of their pets and
Hmm.
providing free lodging. So you really are treated like a guest in someone's home. Now, I don't know about everybody on Trusted House Sitters, but I went into Trusted House Sitters with a specific strategy. I actually had I went to a house sitter school. You know how people have these different online programs?
There's a school. I didn't even know there
Yeah,
was a
there's a house
school.
sitter school. A friend, Stephanie Perry is the person who on for Exodus Summit. She's a big YouTuber. I mean, big like 100K subscribers.
Wow. So what would you say
Yeah,
her name was?
Stephanie Perry.
Stephanie Perry. I better make a
Yeah,
note.
she was a house sitter and brought it to my attention because I was following her channel. And house sitter school, it's just like a online digital course. Everybody's got. I feel like everybody's got one for something.
It
Even
seems
on
like something
YouTube.
that anybody would be able to do, but you're right. There are specific things that you should be doing as a house sitter, right?
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
communities. So what house sitter school does is it allows you to think about what type of clients or what niche is appropriate for what you want to be doing.
Right.
And for me, I like longer term sits. So I now know that I won't book a sit for less than 7 days because it's too much work to get, acclimated and then you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
also
like a
found that I
typical
don't like.
vacation when you used to work like in the office, right? It's like
Mhm.
it takes like day 3, day 4 before you can get out of your
Exactly.
mindset, and then by that time it's almost over. So you may as well go for longer periods.
Yeah, and I also knew that I wanted to do it to be able to afford international travel.
Right.
now my goals are like flipped. Now I can afford international travel because I go to countries that are inexpensive.
Right.
It's the US that I can't afford to live.
I know people. It's like people here think that travel is so expensive, but once you leave the country, and unless you go to places in Europe, say, it ends up being a lot cheaper. Some places.
And that's actually why I went to Europe for Western Europe first, was because I knew that I had money saved. I had still gotten my last check, and then the check you get after your last check before my pension kicked in, and I had to learn how to live off of basically 60% of my regular income.
Right. Right.
So I knew that I could do everything in Europe and not really like feel the fact that I was now living on,
Right.
a lot less.
So, but
And that's
when you
how I
retire,
ended up in Central America for the second sabbatical, and then Mexico for this third and final one.
nice.
Mhm.
So when you left, had you already started your side hustle and you had already had additional income coming in before you retired?
Yeah, because when my kids were young, as a single mom and a doctoral student, so I got my PhD after my divorce. I wanted to do something that would allow me to still have like a flexible schedule. This is before YouTube and everybody was talking about time freedom, location independence, and all of
Right.
that.
Before the
Yeah, so I was
4 hour
a
work
private
week sort of
tutor.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. I was a private tutor, and I was helping people pass the preparatory exams for grad school.
Oh, cool.
And then as they started getting towards the end of their program, they would have master's theses or dissertations to write. And then I became a dissertation editor. I didn't love doing it, but the money was really good. And I was
Mm.
really good at it because I myself was the daughter of teachers. I had an aunt as when I was little that used to correct my letters. She used to make me write, not make me, she used to send me money because I would write her letters, and she would send the money back with the letter corrected. So
Oh,
I've always
nice.
had impeccable grammar
Everyone should
skills.
have a relative like that. That would be great.
I mean, it was probably $5, but I just remembered that it was always cash in the envelope when she would send the letter
Well,
back.
when you're a kid, $5 is a lot of money.
It is, it's true, it's true, it's true. And it really encouraged me to write. She was a literature professor, actually, one of the first in she was in Birmingham, in Alabama. Yeah. So long story short, so I come from a long line of educators. So I
Nice.
love helping people learn. I love helping people become better writers, better readers, and all the things.
Was that online then too, or was it in person at the time?
Was what?
That tutoring that you were doing for dissertations and things like that.
No, no, no. That was in person. No, 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 no,
Hmm.
no. I was at the library 3 or 4. I hired a sitter, and I was at the library 2 or 3 nights a week, and then
Wow.
all day on Saturday.
Well, you can't do
Yeah.
that anymore because
Well,
if
now
you're
you
working
can do
remote.
it. Well, yeah. Now you would do it online. I mean, people wouldn't even come to you. Yeah.
But you're not
Yeah.
doing that
So, but
specific
when
thing
I
anymore.
started, but when I I guess relaunched my dissertation editing services, I did it in Chicago, and I would always meet with the people for the first meeting because I think it's really important to kind of like see if it's a fit because Chicago has so many universities and people, right? Although I myself
Absolutely.
went to grad school in Indiana, I feel like Chicago was a place that was easy to find. And it's a type of job that you can only do 1 or 2 dissertations at a time or theses at a time because it's very
Mm,
intense work.
sure.
And I only did people that were in like my area of expertise or areas that I was really interested in learning and expanding because
Right.
what they write about you, if you take them on as a client, you're basically saying that I agree that what you have put together makes sense. It's logical. The argument is fit. You wouldn't pay them. You wouldn't, because in general it starts around, well, in those days I started at like $800 a project, and now I start at 1,500. So
Wow. So you're still doing that, but you're just doing it remotely. So it's the same
I am
sounds.
now, well, because I've been traveling, I had decided that I would enjoy traveling. And so I actually just picked up my first client again about a month ago because I came back a month ago with the intent that I would let people know that I was ready to start editing again.
Very cool. How do you get your customers?
Yeah, word of mouth. I
Hmm.
mean, that's the thing. If you can only take 2 or 3 a year, and basically I'm working with them until they're done.
Right.
And if they're working with me and paying me, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like when you pay, what's that expression? When people pay, they pay attention.
Yes.
Yes, right. Yeah, yeah. So if they send me something, they want it back yesterday. I'm not going to give it back yesterday, but when I do give it back, they're ready to read it and implement and discuss what needs to happen.
Right.
And so it creates like a cycle of momentum that allows them to show up in their program with the people who are actually paid to help them.
Nice.
as a more dedicated, serious person because they're not having to read through all of the craziness that, because, at the end of the day, as a writer, you're putting everything that you know on a piece of paper. That's not going to create a well-constructed document or argument or thesis or whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
Most people I do are doing quantitative. So as a psychologist, I'm really trained in quantitative research, but I myself really enjoy reading qualitative research. And I find that a lot of students now are doing qualitative research in social science. And so it's easy for me because I know the methodology to be helpful to them because I'm not like an expert in their specific discipline. So I'm asking them all the questions that they need to be able to answer to sort of an informed, trained reader. And so I think it also helps them, what is the word, informally in that way as well. And that if I ask them a question and they can't answer it, then they know what they need to go figure out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how do you decide where to go next? So you said you went to Mexico. Where did you go after Mexico, and how did you decide to go there?
Yeah, so in Mexico, I plan to come back to the US and go back to Mexico. I went to 5 cities in Mexico. I did my TEFL, I did a TEFL certification course and a Spanish intensive language course in Guadalajara because I had a friend who moved there and I really wanted to spend more time with her. I actually met her house sitting. She's an international house sitter in London.
Nice.
And we hung out there and we just stayed in touch. She was like, you got to come to Guadalajara. So she did this for 6 years.
Wow.
And picked Guadalajara. I think it was on her 5th trip to Guadalajara. She was like, this is the place. I'm ready to put my suitcases in a closet.
Nice.
And so she's been a resident of Guadalajara, I think, for about a year now. I think it'll be a year in January. So
do you see that happening to you at all at some point? Maybe settling down somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about Guadalajara. I also know that I just started traveling, so I don't see myself being done. So I kind of have a schedule for the next 3 years to answer your other question.
Oh, nice.
But I did go to Puerto Vallarta to celebrate my graduation from the TEFL certification course. And then I went to San Miguel de Allende, which was not on my itinerary, but everybody kept talking about how beautiful it was. You have to go there. And I found a good deal on an Airbnb. So that's how I ended up there. And then Mexico City, which was on my itinerary. I was supposed to spend a month in Mexico City. But after I peeled off some time to go to Puerto Vallarta and San Miguel, I only ended up in Mexico City for, I think it was like 10 days.
Oh, really?
Not nearly enough time to see Mexico City. I mean, I don't regret it because I love what I did, but I definitely want to go back and see more of it.
So you sound like you did a bunch of Central American tour, and then did you go back to the States after that?
I did. I actually had a commitment, a speaking commitment in Charlotte, North Carolina. So because I knew that in fact, that's why I chose Central America. I knew that I was spending the summer in Mexico, and I knew that I didn't want to stay in the US. So I was like, where can I go on my budget that's close that I can get, for under $400 on my way to my way back to Mexico? Because I actually had already bought the ticket to Mexico and I wasn't sure where to go in the spring. And I decided to try dental tourism. So I went
dental
to San
tourism.
Jose.
That's a new one on me.
Medical tourism, right? It's medical tourism, basically, right? Healthcare tourism. But I call it dental because the place I went, let me tell you, they are a factory for international people, visitors, and their teeth. They do everything.
Really?
And they do everything.
Where's this? In Mexico?
That one practice. It's San Jose. Goodness Dental is the name of it.
Goodness Dental. Okay.
And it's in San Jose, Costa Rica.
Oh, so you went to Costa Rica as well.
I learned about them because the host of the house sitting that I was doing, they and their family had gone there several times, and they were like, because I actually was looking at going somewhere else. I think I was going to go to Panama City because Panama City has a huge expat community, and I knew some people who had been and loved it. One of the relocation tours. So I was going to, check that out. And so when I heard about Costa Rica, saw it was even more affordable. Yeah. So I had, what is it? The implant, the pre-implant surgery where they put the post in.
Oh, yeah.
And a root canal and a diagnostic exam and a cleaning, all for the cost of one half dental implant.
Wow.
That first stage. Yeah. I know
That's
two
incredible.
people that paid $4,500 to $4,700 for one dental implant post surgery in Chicago.
Jeez.
The same year that I booked this.
That's nuts. So you spent time in
Isn't that
Costa
crazy?
Rica as well, or just for the dental?
I stayed. I did. I went for the dental and I stayed 2 weeks longer. Then I came back to the US for like a week or two to because I don't remember what, but there was something going on with the kids or the family.
Right.
And then I went to Panama City and then I stayed in Panama City for 5 weeks. And then I went back to that's when my son joined me at the end of the Panama City tour because it was our birthdays. And then we went to Cartagena, Colombia, which I absolutely
Ooh,
loved. And I
Colombia.
stayed
I hear it's
there.
beautiful.
Yeah, I want to see more of Colombia in general. Definitely want to see more of Colombia in general.
Yeah, because it's funny that like a lot of times when you say Colombia, the immediate reaction is like, "Whoa, wait, what's going on?" But it's definitely different than what it used to be like, from what I hear.
That's what people say. Well, so I'm in a couple of like WhatsApp chat groups. When I travel, you find out what are the groups, the people are sharing ideas and events, not ideas, but events, activities, whatever.
Yeah.
And so every time so I was in one, it was either for Panama or Costa Rica. And I met a young woman who I mean, she's like half my age, but she's been all over the world, already been all over the world.
Wow.
And I think she's maybe 30, 35. She's in that range. But she's a YouTuber also, Fly Like Me PhD.
Hmm.
And I
I love
love
it.
that right, says she's an academic, which is how people are like, oh, you should know Dr. Maya. You should know Dr. Maya. And sure enough, we hit it off. And so she was like, you have to go to Cartagena. You have to go to
Mm,
Cartagena.
mm.
And she had just been, and she was insistent. When she got, how people get to know you. That's what people said about San Miguel. People get to know you, and they're like, you must. I love fabric, and I love a street market. I love culinary experiences, and so you'll be having these conversations, and people will be like, well, the best whatever I ever did was in this city. You have to go.
Wow.
And
We
I
have to
just
tell me
feel,
about fabric
make a
because my
note of it.
wife's a huge fabric fan. So where would you go for fabric?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mexico, I mean, the most beautiful fabrics that I bought so far have been in Mexico, but I did buy some beautiful stuff in Cartagena.
Mm,
But Cartagena was nice because it's on the water and I love a beach. I love to go walking on the beach early in the mornings before it gets
nice.
busy and before it gets hot. And we were able to stay in an Airbnb on the beach in Cartagena. I want to say it was $400 a week.
Wow. That's
And we
nuts.
ended up not getting the day for the 28-day discount because um I wanted to stay in another part of town, the part where the beaches are and the restaurants and that stuff is kind of different from the old town. So I wanted to have like a different experience. I didn't want to stay in both places. So we didn't get like the best price. But that is unheard of
Mm,
anywhere. I mean, that's um my budget for lodging, honestly, is usually I would love to be between 1,200 and 1,500 a month,
mm.
which in Central America and Mexico is definitely doable, but you have to be willing to maybe deal with bugs, maybe walk farther, maybe not have air conditioning. You're not gonna have central air, you're gonna have a window unit, which may work, which may or may leak. You're gonna give
Sounds like
up
you're
some
really
stuff,
roughing
but
it.
you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
So how's
Yeah.
your Spanish? Is your Spanish really good?
It's much better. It's much
Yeah.
better. I mean, I was basically focusing on Spanish speaking countries so that I could practice and improve. Yeah. I
So
will say that intensive course that I took, that was not a good idea.
no.
I was not ready for that.
So it's like, what if somebody didn't really know that much Spanish? Would that be a barrier for them, or?
I've been talking about this on my YouTube channel. We need to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to be team use your translator.
Mm,
Although obviously going to Asia, I can't learn 3 Asian languages in the amount of time that I'm going to be there. So I'm going to be relying on Google Translate. But
right.
I just feel like we're so close to Mexico, especially these folks. And I'm going to sound a little bit, it's the teacher in me, a little bit preachy. Like it makes no sense for you to be going back and forth. There's so many people who speak Spanish in the US. Like you don't even
Exactly.
have to work that hard.
Exactly.
You should be able
You
to
can
do the
practice
basic
right here.
conversations. Order a coffee, order some chicken tacos or fish tacos,
Yeah.
with or without onion. That's my favorite. I like um pescado sin cabeza
Oh,
without the
nice.
head. I don't like looking at the eyes. No ojos. No ojos. You should
But
be
see,
able to go in a restaurant, order your favorite dish, go to a coffee shop, order your if you're out if you I started to say if you're alcoholic. I love no, I didn't I do drink, but I don't drink a lot.
Right.
But go to wherever you're going and order your favorite drink in
Yeah.
Spanish. You should be
Dos
able to
cervezas,
say
por favor, right? That sort
yes.
of.
And can I what's the other expression? I'm not gonna remember it because I am working on my Thai. Like they have the list of the 100 basic phrases you should know in whatever country you're going to. I think that at a minimum, you should be able to do that. If you know you're going when you bought your ticket, unless you bought your ticket the last minute, if you bought your ticket for next month, there's no reason you can't learn 2 phrases a day before you get there
Oh,
so
yeah.
that you can know the most popular phrases.
And
Hello,
Spanish in
goodbye,
general is
thank you.
actually a fairly easy language to pick up, isn't it? I would say, as an English speaker.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up, like I said, my mom was bilingual, so I grew up hearing her speak Spanish, and I never learned Spanish. When I went to high school, I learned French. And actually, I went to France for a week when I was when I left the UK and Spain, I went to Montpellier
Hmm.
for a week. And fortunately for me, they speak Spanish because they're so close to the border of
Oh,
Spain.
nice. That's lucky.
My French was not, I did not have enough time. It was a last minute decision. So I did not have time to really brush up on French like I needed to. But thank God they spoke Spanish. If they didn't speak English, they spoke Spanish in the small
Fantastic.
towns.
And then
Yeah.
so
So I
after,
think we need to do better. I just feel like as Americans, we are convinced that the whole world needs to speak English and they don't. They
yeah,
really don't.
yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think you should definitely learn at least some of it. And it's funny because
Mhm,
when I try using those other languages in other countries,
mhm.
everywhere I've been except for Japan, they've been impressed. So they've been like, "Oh, you tried, you tried, you tried." I try in Japan, and they're like, "Nothing." So
Yeah,
it's a
and it
very
might
different
be, I feel
attitude.
like because we're doing it so badly. I mean, I
Probably.
have really perfected sawade. Last night I was practicing, I was doing really good. But I've practiced hello, thank you, and how are you?
Hmm.
Um, and that's really the only because it's a tonal language. Thai is a tonal language,
Yeah.
but I'm leaving on Tuesday. A
Oh,
week from tomorrow.
you
So
better
I
crank
might
up those
only have
lessons.
perfected those three. Because basically, if you look at the words, there's 4 ways to pronounce any word in Thai. And it has
Wow.
to, you look at it, but and the meaning is different depending on where you put the tone, where the tonal accent is.
Wow. That
And
sounds
it's a
hard.
very guttural sounding language. So it feels unfamiliar to us. It's not like Spanish and English. So it feels weird in our mouth getting the
Right.
words out.
Wow. Nuts.
So I don't
So
know.
after so
I'm going to
after your
figure it out. Huh?
so after your Central American tour, where did you go after that?
Mexico.
So you were still in Mexico, but then
No, no,
did you
no. So
eventually
I'm
get?
back. I'm back in the US and I've been back since September 19th.
Okay. You've been to you said you've been to Europe though. Was Europe your next
That was the
step after
first,
that?
right. That was in 2024, the
Hmm.
summer of 2024. I left July 7th and I came back like November 15th, like right before, actually, it was like right around this time. It was like a week before Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Last year, this time I came back from my first sabbatical.
And where did you go in Europe?
Yeah. So most of it was in the UK, in England, in those 6 towns that I told you about that I was English, London and 5 other places.
Hmm.
My favorite of those was Portsmouth, which is
Mm.
near the Isle of Wight on the south side. Definitely want to go back there. Then I went to Spain. I flew into Madrid, took the train to Barcelona, and then took the train down the coast. I went to 5 different cities. I stopped at Alicante. The other thing that I like to do is plan experiences. I've done a lot of reviewing of Airbnb experiences in some of the trips that I've taken. So I did a yoga retreat and I did a detox/meditation retreat,
Nice.
both in towns like outside. So one of them was like 40 minutes south of Barcelona, so not in Barcelona. And for some reason, it's not coming to me what city it was in. But and then the other one was right outside of Alicante, also like 30, 40 minutes south. And
Nice.
places that were really hard to get to. So what I learned from that is you need to make sure that cars and taxis and Ubers and things are available in these small towns where you're doing these great experiences.
Right. I bet. So
It
how do
was
you
really
find out
hard to
about
get
those
around.
experiences? How'd you find
Huh?
out about them?
One of them was book retreats. There's a site, it's like bookretreats.com, retreats.com.
I'll see if I can look it up.
Actually, if you Google retreats in Spain, which is what I probably did, it was the one that kept coming up. So it's like a platform where people who are offering either they have a retreat center where they have all kinds of retreats there, or individuals who are hosting a retreat can, create a listing for their retreat for next summer.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to do that. I feel like that's going to be my next chapter. Well, maybe the
Nice.
chapter after the next chapter is probably not soon because I don't have enough money to have a retreat center or book one. And I don't know if I could fill the retreat. So, but yeah, I love doing retreats.
But you know a lot of people. You can pull them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then you spent, did you go to France after that? Because you see, like you're telling me
Yes.
slow, you told me slow travel earlier, but it sounds like this was a little quicker than usual.
So the
You,
first four, I didn't know that I wanted to be a slow traveler at the time. I just was like, I finally left the US. I want to do everything. I want to see it. I mean, I had been to Mexico, but does that really count? But once I finally got across the pond, I was like, I just want to see everything. I don't know. It might be another 40 years before I get back. Yeah,
so
I
you
did too
sped up a
much.
little bit.
I did too
You're,
much. And I basically, every dime I saved to spend that 4 months, I spent. I came
yeah,
back at zero.
nice.
So I was like, people say, well, you save money to travel, you save money to travel. Other people I know who have channels who are talking, they're like you, they're interviewing people live on their channel. And they're just like, oh, it's just really hard to. I was like, I didn't have any problem. I want to say I saved $9,000. It was under 10. It was supposed to be 10, but anyway, I left at 9. And I'm just metered it out. I mean, mostly it was budget, but it was a lot of luxury. I mean, there were, of course, many occasions where I would do a luxury experience or whatever,
Right,
like the retreats. Both of those retreats were like a grand, but I paid for them over time.
right.
You pay a third deposit and then a third a month before, and then a third when you get there, something
So
like that.
Western Europe is not really a budget travel area. So
Exactly.
you have to spend money.
Yeah, I knew that, and that's why I went there first because I said I'll have this buffer. And then when I came back, I said, "Oh, that was way too much. That was way too long and way too much."
Mm,
So when I did Central America, if you notice, I was gone like a month-ish, and I came back for a month, and then I was gone for 2 months, and I came back for a month. And then I was back. Well, actually, I was back for like a week, and then I went to Mexico for 3 months. And
right.
this time, I mean, when I leave, I will have been here just shy of 2 months.
Mm. And
Yeah,
then so
September
and
to
then
November.
so you went to Europe and then you're back here and then you've been to Mexico as well. Is it have you is and Asia is your next big stop? Is that where you're going next?
And it's 6 months.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
already, I mean, I'm leaving a week from Tuesday. It's too late to change anything, but I'm feeling like, what the heck was I thinking? Like, why did I book this? This
And
is
where are you
so
going?
far. And I'm still finding mistakes that I made and decisions that I made. But it is, I mean,
Oh,
that's
that'll
kind of,
open up all sorts of new things. It'll be serendipity. You'll be doing all sorts of cool stuff. So
yes.
where are you going? Where are you planning to go?
So I have a friend who got a job in Bangkok. She signed a 5-year contract, or maybe
Nice.
3 years. I don't know, but it's a long-term contract. So she doesn't want to have to move, and she has a big family, and so she's renting this huge condo, and she's basically there by herself because nobody in her family has yet been able to like really move there.
Right.
Yeah, so she started like August 1st. So I'm going to be staying with her, and she is an educator, educational administrator for a British company, and she'll be coming home for the holidays, and I will be staying in her condo.
Nice.
And of course, she'll be introducing me to her friends and stuff. So then I'm going to Chiang Mai. So when she comes back, we'll probably overlap a while so we can hang out. And then maybe 2 weeks after that, about mid-January, I'm going to head to Chiang Mai and I'll be on my own up there for 6 weeks. Then
Nice.
I'll come back to Bangkok and fly to Da Nang, Vietnam. Don't know
Nice.
anybody there. I created not a Google, what is it called? A custom gem. I'm really into AI gems. Well, I'm trying to,
Nice.
I mean, obviously it's a new skill, right? So I'm learning, right? So yeah, and it recommended, I wanted to go to Vietnam. I told it what I wanted and it recommended Da Nang. And then I started, doing the Googles and talking to people who'd been there and everybody loved it.
Yep.
So Ho Chi Minh is the other place that you hear a lot about, but I feel like it's kind of a big, noisy, dirty city like Chicago, like New York.
Yeah. You want to stay out of those big, noisy, dirty
Yeah,
cities. Yeah,
like
Chiang
Mexico
Mai,
City,
Da
like
Nang,
all
those
the
are
other
all on
places
the
I've been.
list. Those are all on the big list of nomad
Yeah. So I
cities
was
to
like,
go
I don't
to.
know that I need to do that again for a month, right? So close to Bangkok. I just
Yeah.
felt like so close to Bangkok.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm gonna really be feeling.
And
And
I hear
then
Chiang Mai is a good
Kuala
place
Lumpur.
for medical stuff too, because I was talking to Nomad Jim just the other day, and he said I do all my medical stuff in Chiang Mai. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
if.
you mentioned that when we talked before. Yeah. Yeah, I was planning to do it in Bangkok because I'm gonna be in Bangkok first.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Speaking,
Kuala Lumpur is my last stop in Southeast Asia, or at least right now. The plan, I only book travel 3 months in advance. I feel like too much changes for you to know what you're going to want to do. So my ticket to Da Nang is booked. My ticket to Kuala Lumpur is not booked, but I'm kind of doing the research now. But I should be in Kuala Lumpur the month of April. And then the other thing that I may or may not add on and not spend a month in Vietnam and Kuala Lumpur, like shorten it like I did in Mexico, because I'm thinking about going to, I'm going to say it wrong, Hyderabad, Telenga, India.
Hyderabad. Wow, you're
I know I
brave.
butchered that, but yes, Southeast India. And that's only because I have a really close friend who's an international student who I've known for years and her family. They were like, you cannot go all the way to Asia and fly over India and not stop.
Well, you've got a
They're
place to
like,
go. That's
we
awesome.
forbid it. We forbid it. So that'll be a little different because it'll be a hosted trip. They'll pick me up from the airport. I will probably just stay there a week, and then I'll be on my way back.
Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
so speaking of healthcare, I wanted to squeeze that in. I mean, have you ever had any issues while you were away from the United States, and how did you
Yeah.
deal with it?
Yeah. I actually had a knee injury the first day I was in Guadalajara.
Oh no.
I had to change planes and they put us in one of those little small, well, like a regional plane, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they rolled the staircase up to it. Long story short, as I stepped down onto the stairs, my knee kind of twisted in a funny way.
Oh
I wasn't
no.
expecting it to move. You know, when you think about, getting on and off airplanes, it just like freaked me out.
Jeez.
And it freaked out my knee too. And so I was in
Ouch.
incredible pain. I mean, I'm at the age where I come from a family that has knee issues, and I'm at the age where they start to show up.
Right.
But I mean, I've been able to do yoga. I'm fairly flexible. I mean, I am turning 60 this year. So, I mean,
Well,
there's that.
congratulations.
I'm
Welcome.
excited about it. I'm excited about it. I'm going to turn 60 somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Nice, nice.
Yes,
But
I'm really
you had no
grateful
trouble
that
getting medical care where you were?
that's what I was about to say. So my friend, the that I told you had moved there, Leslie, she texted me the primary care doctor that she was about to start seeing as she had just moved there. And she wanted to come to the hotel the same day to give
Mm.
me a house visit. But it was the day of the Pride Parade, and I was staying in a tourist area where the Pride Parade was coming through Guadalajara.
Oh
There
man.
was no parking, street shut down. So she came the following, and then the next day was a Sunday. So I was like, you know what? I'm in pain, but I'm taking drugs that I brought. I'm taking lots of pain pills. So she came the next Monday and then saw me and followed up with me. And guess how much her house call was?
I don't
I
know,
don't know if you
30
know about
bucks?
house
I have
payments.
no idea.
$55.
Wow.
She stayed a whole hour. She asked me all these questions. Dr. Emmy is her name. And she works with a lot and she works with a lot of expats. She actually trained in California. Yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
But she was amazing. And she insisted that I see an orthopedic surgeon. You just hear orthopedic surgeon, you're like, oh God, this is gonna cause a she was
Yeah.
55, but he's gonna be 5,500. So I was resistant, but before I left, I was like, let me get these x-rays, let me see him. And sure enough, he's prescribed some drugs. Oh, and the 3 prescriptions, $38.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
his office
nuts.
visit was $67, and his 3 prescriptions were closer to $50.
Jeez.
And his medication, because he had actually given me the right diagnosis, actually worked immediately. I was basically pain free from the minute I got his stuff. Her stuff was, I guess, more general joint. I don't know. I don't understand the difference, but long story short, I was really grateful. So basically, if you add all that together, I didn't even spend $200.
Wow. That's nuts. You can't even walk into a doctor's office without spending that much now. It's crazy.
Exactly. And could you get an appointment? And
No.
if you could get an appointment and if you could afford the copays or get permission to see a specialist, because that has to be pre-approved, it's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually had a knee injury in the US shortly after my 50th birthday. So I actually know exactly I don't remember what I paid because of course I had, my employer
Insurance.
insurance, but
Yeah.
I remember it was expensive.
Oh yeah. No, it's ridiculous. And I think as Americans we have this vision of it's going to cost a lot of money to live and it's going to cost a lot of money for healthcare. And the reality is that both of those things are a lot less. And you think you have to make so much money or have a huge pile of money in order to travel, and it's not necessarily so. Depends on where you go.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that, you have to experience it to believe it, because I don't care how much we yell and tell people from, the YouTube, the internet streams. Yeah. You have to have an injury and be in pain and have a doctor say, I will be there in an hour or I'll be there in 2 hours to understand that what we are getting and what we are paying for is a sham.
Exactly. And they do house calls. I mean, who does house
Yes.
calls anymore?
Mhm.
They don't do them here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, I know that in the US, we have I mean, I've had great medical care in the US as well, but it's just cost a fortune. And they're working in a system that really doesn't allow them to be as great as they would even like to be. I think
Exactly
doctors
right.
travel, so they also know that what they're able to do for us is not as superior to what other countries are able to do. Now, that's not to say every doctor in Mexico has access to that type of, um, you know, schedule and care. Also, the dental tourism that I did in Costa Rica, state of the art. I never saw so many robots
Yeah.
and things coming out of, out of the wall and out of the.
Well, that's what
You
I
push
hear.
a
I see
button
that.
and this comes down. You push another button, something comes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they all spoke English. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Kuala Lumpur thing that Nomad Jim was telling me about. It was like he was there for the entire day, and they did everything. And here it would take 8 months, and it would just take forever to do. It would cost a lot of money, and they would just do everything for $300, like absolutely everything.
Yes, I'm
So
definitely going to
it's
take advantage of that. That's one of the reasons why I added it on. I mean, it's not really impulsive because by the time I get there, it'll be May, so I will have time to plan it.
yeah,
But that's one of the reasons I'm going is I want to get that test done. I think it'd be great to know what's going on.
very cool, very cool. So what about sort of tech and technologies? Like, do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have
I
Substack?
do.
So what do
It's
you what do you?
on sabbatical with Dr. Crystal, the same as my Substack, and it's actually at just Dr. Crystal Harris. Super easy. So you
Nice.
can put in on sabbatical, and there's not anybody else using that handle. If you get to the with, I show up.
So is that also supplementing your income too? I mean, are you making a bunch of money from that
Not
as well?
yet. I mean, my YouTube channel is about a year old. I'm actually getting ready. I think I'm on like the 98. The video that's coming out this coming week will be number 98. So I'm really
Mm,
close to my 100th video. I'm gonna try
congratulations.
to
That's
not
awesome.
post so that my first video in Bangkok will be the 100th video.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
So do
yeah.
you do any preparation for that? Like, do you know if you have a good Wi-Fi where you're going to be and stuff like that, or how does
Yeah,
that work?
because the woman who is hosting me, who's coming home for the holidays, she has been going live from her apartment. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm watching her.
perfect. That's
Yes,
awesome.
yes,
Yeah, because
yes,
that's a big issue, right? I mean, especially if you're
yeah.
doing video,
Hmm.
it's not the download speeds. Download speeds are usually okay, but we all need upload, right?
Exactly,
We all
exactly.
need to
Hmm.
stream. We need live, and it's difficult in a lot of places that I've been where the Wi-Fi is just terrible. It's just absolutely
Hmm.
terrible. Have you
Yes,
experienced that in the
definitely.
past?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I mean, in fact, my last YouTube video is terrible for just that reason. The background, I was in an Airbnb that didn't, so this house that has this nice teal wall, I really like this picture in this
Yes,
wall,
very nice.
but it was kind of like a hot mess behind me. So I used a filter, and
Hmm.
halfway through the video, I'm talking and it says, the message comes up. We don't have enough for all of this.
Yeah,
So forget that. I forget what the message said, but to my chagrin, I'm talking, going live, and then the foolishness behind me is now visible. I mean, it was
yeah,
clean. It was just like it was an Airbnb, but it was a little cluttered. That's all.
yeah, yeah,
You could see the way I was sitting at an angle. You could see half of the closet and all the appliances and all the stuff that they had there. But
Well, I remember
what
it
are you
was
gonna?
one guy at another company I worked at. He actually did his conference calls from a closet, and he didn't even have a background. There were like shoes and stuff in the back.
You
It's
didn't know
like,
about the filters.
dude, did you know
Yeah,
what you're
but
doing?
that takes up. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
This has
so
been
I would
awesome.
say
Go ahead.
your audience, I think, is probably people who want to be nomads, but for people who want to find a physical job, and they're willing to work for somebody that's not a US based company, this is how my friend Davia, she also has a YouTube channel. So if people want to know more about how do you actually get a job that pays you as good, if not better,
Hmm.
in leadership in whatever your industry is, that's kind of her story. Her
Nice.
channel is called Not All the Things, but she is an educational administrator. That's what she did here. She had already taught online when her kids were young. She and her husband lived in Asia, and she was an English teacher. And she came back, got more degrees, principal, all the things, administrator. And then now she works for a British company, opening schools in Thailand.
Nice.
So if
So
you have a great career in the US and you're willing to work, I mean, you might be able to do it for a US company. I'm just saying that you're willing to open yourself up to companies that are headquartered other places that are expanding in Asia, especially. But I think it's true in India and the Middle East. A lot of these companies are expanding there. They're looking for people who are experienced, leaders and problem solvers,
right.
to
So
help them
where do you
expand.
find these gigs?
Well, I think she used a headhunter and she told me about it, but I was just going to say that for people who want a job, I just recently learned that there's like literally a pathway to do that too. I personally don't really want to want a leadership. I don't know. You should never say never. But
Right.
having been in leadership in higher education and being a low level administrator, maybe it will be different in another country,
Right.
but I don't feel like that's something I need to do again.
Right.
But I
Well,
am
I mean, you
consistently,
you have a great life doing what you're doing right now. So
exactly,
why
exactly,
why mess with
exactly.
it, right?
Yeah, but for people who maybe are just 50 plus, so 50, 51, 52, maybe they really do feel like they need to work another 8, 9 years. And you're in the US, I mean, consider putting on LinkedIn that you're open to internet. If you say that you'll go anywhere in the world, some headhunter will look at your skills and find you a company that's looking for great people that will
Yeah.
take
And
you
usually by
anywhere
the
in the
time you get
world.
to our age, the kids are already out of the house and you have the flexibility to go work from anywhere.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you were to if somebody were to ask you, like, what would be the number one piece of advice you'd give somebody who's aspiring to get into this life? What
Just
would
do
you
it.
say to them?
Start,
Hmm.
start. Buy a ticket. Literally, that's what I did. I mean, granted, I bought a ticket to Cancun. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. So let me just buy this ticket to Cancun, go there and stay a month and see what happens.
So that was kind of like
And
your experiment. That was your
it
experiment,
was
and you loved it.
definitely, I loved it. I never looked back. After that, I was ready. I was literally just like, how much do, well, I think that's the other thing. Like, a lot of people do coaching and supporting people who want to travel abroad. If you want to spend the money to go to like a hosted event somewhere else, I personally always looked at the price tags on those. It's like, I'm a smart person. I can figure this. And as you can tell, I'm a talker. I never meet a stranger. I was like, I can't give you $2,000 to do this. That's my whole month budget. I mean, I could have, but I just was like, I won't. I refuse.
So you're obviously an extrovert, right? So what do you think about people who are? Do you have to be more of an extrovert to do the tech kind of traveling you're doing, or
Actually, most of my friends that travel the most, the one I was telling you about that told me to go to Carnegie, she's an introvert. Most of my friends who actually are doing this are introverts. I meet very
really?
few people that are as outgoing as I am.
Wow.
Yeah,
How do they
I
do
mean, I
that?
think introverts are more like aware of what they want, and so they're able to do it. They don't need a lot of like validation and discussion. That's my
Mm,
perspective. My daughter is an introvert traveler.
wow.
Yes. She
Is she
doesn't really
following your
want to see
footsteps? Is she
anybody.
all
She don't
over the
want to
world
talk to
too?
anybody. She go to the museum by herself, go to the coffee shop by herself. Even if I'm on the trip, she's like, okay, I'll see you later.
So it sounds like you really like the solo traveling. Have you ever traveled with other folks?
I've never done a group trip. I take that back. I've done like a group, like when my kids were little in the group, we took the youth of the church to fill in the blank conference.
Right.
I feel like that gave me like a bad I've never done a group trip that was actually someplace fun to go. I almost did once or twice. I don't think I've ever been on like, and I'm from a certain degree, I'm thinking of buses. I've certainly not done it on the plane. The
Mm,
few group trips I've done have been buses, and they were perfectly fine experiences. And I'm sure there are some group trips that I would love to do. I think if money was no object and I really wanted to invest 2 to 3 thousand, like I said, the biggest problem I have is that for the 10 days that I have to spend 2 grand, it just doesn't make sense financially to me.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that reminds me of another thing I want to ask you. So, since you're a solo traveler, solo female traveler, did you ever feel unsafe in any of the places you were? And if so, what did you do about it?
Yeah, so one of my strategies for that is I connect with people before I go.
Mm,
So in the Exodus Summit community, there are people who've been everywhere. So in the Chicago group, I know somebody. I'm going to a stopover in Istanbul, Turkey. So I just said to the group, "Hey, I'm going to be in Istanbul for 22 hours. Is there anybody who's been there or who's there now who wants to grab dinner or breakfast or give or just have a phone call?" And the same thing, if I wasn't going to meet my friend in Bangkok and stay in her house, we have some overlap on each end. But let's say when I get to Chiang Mai, I'll do the same thing. I'll be like, who's in Chiang Mai? And then once I meet them online, we'll usually do a video chat or a phone chat a couple times, and then I'll usually meet them at a park or what Leslie and I did when we met the woman in London that I'm now friends with. We did a tour. We picked a tour to go on, a walking tour to go on, and we did the walking tour together. And oh my God, that man drug us around all of London. And by the time 6 hours later, we were so exhausted, shared trauma.
And a friend for life, I bet.
Yes, I had a friend. I had literally had a friend and we did two other things after that. After deciding to meet at that thing, we did two other things together, and then we just stayed in touch.
Fantastic. So basically pre-seed things, like go reach out to somebody who's already there and see if you can connect with them ahead of time, and they can be a guide to help you get around too.
And a tour, I think a public tour is a great way to like build a connection or see if there's a vibe or if there's a fit. I mean, I've done it with people where it was a perfectly good experience, but like we won't, be friends.
Yeah, and those tour operators always try to get everybody to talk to each other, right? Yeah. It's like the first thing is like, I want you guys to talk to each other, and sometimes it depends on the crowd, right? Sometimes they're like everyone's like happy and talking to each other, and others are like in their own little cubes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been.
I really love traveling. I don't foresee what I think for 2027. Is I'll either go back to Mexico or I'll go to South America. I really want to explore South America, but I want to be in the same time zone.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend 12 months of the year or any more than 6 months of the year not in the right time zone.
Right. Is that because of work or? Is that because of work? Is that why you want to stay in the?
Well, YouTube. I mean, I'm actually starting an interview series as well. I did one with TEFL people who were doing the TEFL program. And now I'm going to do one with people who are actually teaching English abroad.
Oh, fantastic.
So if you know anybody or run into anybody that has taught English abroad or is currently teaching English abroad, yes, because I am one of those people that I think that will be my next juncture. If I do go back to my problem is I don't really want to work 20, 30 hours. If I could do it part-time,
none of us do.
Most people, they're not going to sponsor your I mean, when you consider what the money is worth compared to dissertation coaching, when you consider the extra income potential, I'm going to work 40 hours to get $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like I want to do it for the experience and for the growth of my YouTube channel. But before I decide, I'm going to also interview people who've taught English around
Absolutely.
the world.
That's totally the way to go. So this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
I would say Substack. My Substack community is new. YouTube, you can't really send me a private message, but I am on LinkedIn and I do repost everything that I do on LinkedIn as well. I think those are the easiest places.
Fantastic.
On sabbatical with Dr. Crystal or at Dr. Crystal Harris. Yeah, there's another famous Dr. Crystal Harris. Crystal Harris was not a doctor, which is why you probably don't want to see. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But
well, I'll make sure to put links directly in the show notes, directly to your stuff, so people can go.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much. This has been great. And if you know anybody else who would like to come on the show, please let me know, and I'll definitely reach out to people. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good talking with you. Bye.
Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive, from mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained. I thrive. Oh, I thrive.